This episode brought to you by TAUMMHOMS, which is a natural sleep and sound healing portal helping people globally to get to sleep faster and stay asleep longer through TAUMMHOMS.com. That's www.TAUMMHOMS.com. Hey, I'm Lord Toby Wright, and this is my Right Stuff News. Welcome to the My Right Stuff Good News Network. Let's kick things off with the music news. Post Malone releases 12 Carat Toothache. The performer described the new album as speaking to how I'm feeling at the moment, the ups and downs, and the disarray, and the bipolar aspect of being an artist in the mainstream. The album will mark the performer's first on the Mercury Records label, the revival of which was announced by Republic Records earlier in April. A Perfect Circle guitarist and co-founder, Billy Howerdel, releases his debut solo album, What Normal Was. This is me stepping back into my early teen self and making the record I would have made if I had the means and the knowledge when I first picked up a guitar, just in 2022. He said, "It's that moment as a kid when you hear a record, close your eyes, and go somewhere else. That was the time I found my lane, so to speak." Well, on top of the new album news, Howerdel has also announced a summer tour, beginning June 11th in Ventura, California. And the 6-week trek will also feature some festival dates, such as a performance at Milwaukee's Summerfest and 2 shows with Pussifer, the band fronted by Howerdel's A Perfect Circle bandmate, Maynard Keenan. Intergalactic monster meddlers Gwar have released their new album titled The New Dark Ages today on digital and CD, and on September 16th on vinyl and cassette. The incoming LP was produced by Ronan Murphy and features artwork by Alex Horley. And Carrie Underwood embraces a classic country aesthetic with her new album, Denim and Rhinestones. The project is the follow-up to her Grammy-winning 2021 religious collection, My Savior. Let's go on over to film and TV. Stranger Things Season 4 is finally here on Netflix. The show that made a generation of tweens feel nostalgic about the 1980s, even though they never lived through them, returns 6 months after the battle at Starcourt Mall, which was supposed to put an end to weird creatures emerging from the upside down, but clearly did not. Because here we are again. The second part of the 4th season will debut July 1st. Pistol is on Hulu. Danny Boyle directs this limited series that traces the evolution of the Sex Pistols and the punk scene in the late 1970s London, with a cast that includes Game of Thrones vets Maisie Williams and Thomas Brodie Sangster. The Boys' new season is on Amazon Prime. The boys are back in town. Expect gore, superhero nihilism, wry corporate commentary, and possibly fewer exploding whales. All right, well, The Real Housewives of Dubai is on Bravo. The franchise about women with more money than sense sets up in Dubai, with its opulence, glamour, rampant human rights issues, and migrant labor abuse. All in one. Well, Top Gun Maverick is in theaters. Watching Tom Cruise pilot a fighter jet 200 feet above the floor of Death Valley, corkscrew another one through Washington's Cascade Mountains, and give one of the most vulnerable performances of his career while sustaining so many G-forces that you can practically see him going clear in real time. And you realize more lucidly than ever before that this wild-eyed lunatic makes movies like his life depends on it. Because it does. And not for the first time. Zero Contact, its limited theaters, and Finley Hart is the eccentric genius behind a global data mining program. Upon his death, 5 remote agents, including his son, are contacted by a mysterious AI entity to reactivate the initiative, which may enable time travel. As sinister events occur at each of the agents' homes, they must decide whether entering their passwords will save the world or destroy it. Well, now on over to the world of sports. Well, in Formula One news, this past weekend was an amazing race in Monaco. Ferrari had the pole, but let Leclerc's lead drop to 4th, and Red Bull's Sergio Checo Perez took home the win for the first time a Mexican driver has won at Monaco. Max Verstappen was second, and it's now a 3-man race in the standings with Verstappen, Leclerc, and Perez. Good luck to those gentlemen. It's going to be a killer season. The Premier Leagues ended with Manchester City winning the cup. Liverpool was second, and Chelsea third. The Champions League final with a fantastic game between Liverpool and Real Madrid. Well, in gear and tech news, Rode takes their world-class podcast production studio to a new level with the Rodecaster Pro 2. The Rodecaster Pro 2 blends everything you need for podcasting, streaming, and studio recording into a single streamlined production console. Users with limited experience can get started really fast thanks to the intuitive layout and RGB color-coded workflow. The Rodecaster Pro 2 has enough inputs for 4 hosts and effortlessly connects to phones, USB, and Bluetooth sources. Plus, there are individual headphone outputs for each host. Rodecaster Pro 2 also includes stellar factory presets, Aphex-powered DSP, and onboard effects to help you achieve a pro-level sound. Whether you're a veteran podcaster or a live stream star in the making, the Rodecaster Pro 2 is your best bet for pro-level audio production, and it retails for $6.99. You can find Rode here. Well, we'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the passing of 3 amazing artists. Actor Ray Liotta, best known for Goodfellas, co-founder and keyboardist for Depeche Mode, Andrew Fletcher, and Yes drummer, Alan White. They will all be sadly missed. Well, that's all the news that's making the news this week, June 3rd, 2022. Now over to you, my lord.
Well, hey, and welcome back to My Right Stuff, which is a film, TV, sports, music, adventure, and inspirational lifestyle podcast. I'm your host, Lord Toby Rage Wright, and in our effort to continue bringing you the best in health and wellness here at My Right Stuff, today we have another twist in the healing world, a very informative and healthful guest. She's a massage therapist, a Reiki master, and practicing herbalist. She also has been a martial arts student for 32 years and an instructor for 20 years. Such amazing accomplishments. But before I introduce her, I want to thank you, all of our supporters who stream, download, watch, and support My Right Stuff. Keep spreading the word, my friends. We really do appreciate it, and it is working. And be sure to click on our show notes below to follow our link tree for a full list of all the channels we're streaming on, including Spotify, as well as all of our sites and social media platforms. If you'd like to donate to My Right Stuff, please do, but please follow our support link. Every single dollar helps support the My Right Stuff crew who make all of this possible. And of course, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, as well as Spotify, and the podcast channel of your choice, so you never miss a single episode. And after this episode, please head on over to myrightstuff.com, go to the store tab, and pick up some snazzy merch for those bodies. Well, before we get started on today's episode, I'd like to introduce my co-host, a man whose chakras are always balanced, my distinguished co-host, Sir Gareth Dyton. And he's a kick-ass radio DJ from Wales, UK, with a show called Chunky's Choice Cuts. And he's here to tell us about some cool new music he's found. Hey, Gareth, what have you found in your travels this week?
Hey, Toby, my friend. Today I'm going to tell you about, first of all, is a band from Cardiff in Wales. They're a band called Panic Shack, and they're an all-female punk rock band who've been turning some heads, playing some raucous live shows with a great sound and a great vibe, and they've released their first ever EP called Baby Shack, and it's very, very good indeed. Fun times, old-fashioned punk rock, 6 tracks in 18 minutes. Perfect. The release can be found on bandcamp.com and all major streaming sites. And if you like bands like Amyl and the Sniffers, then you'll certainly love these Welsh ladies of punk. The next band I'm going to tell you about is a band from the Isle of Wight, and they've been turning heads and ears since last summer, where their underground hit, Chaise Long, certainly got them lots of exposure, and rightfully so too. The Isle of Wight two-piece have recently released their self-titled debut album, and what an absolute scorcher it is. It's full of great tracks, guitar-driven indie pop, with certainly more than a nod and a wink to 90s indie, which, as you know, Toby, will always have a special place in my heart. The next band I'm going to tell you about is a band called Tangerine Cat, and they're a UK and Ukrainian band. This two-piece, currently based in the UK, are about to drop an incredible album called Glass, which is coming out on April the 28th. And they use a mixture of instruments, including a hurdy-gurdy and a dirda, which I'm sure, as you know, is Ukrainian bagpipes, to create a unique sound. It's kind of a mix between industrial, electronica, is quite a bit of punk vibe and attitude to there. It's a very unique sound, both instrumentally and vocally, and all of it is served with a very large slice of post-punk vibe. The album has a theme running through it and is based upon one of the members, Eugene, very unique and extreme life experiences, and each song features the instrumentation used of glass smashing, hence the name Glass. Like I said, the album is released on April the 28th, and that can be found digitally and on hard copy via bandcamp.com. And that's really my pick for this episode, you beautiful people. I would love to hear from you, what you girls and guys out there think about my choices. Please drop me a line in the comments below, and I will look forward to reading them. And also, if you think that you've got it what it takes to be mentioned on this section of the show, firstly, subscribe to the podcast on YouTube, then drop me a line and drop me some links, and you too could feature in this particular segment. I look forward to hearing from you.
That's fabulous, Gareth, and thank you for that, because, man, I really like a lot of your taste in music, and you've turned me on to some crazy good stuff in the past.
Thank you, man.
What has it been like? Almost a year now.
Almost a year, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to be going into season 2 soon.
Oh. Bring it on, T-Man.
Well, Gareth, as you know, today's guest is a highly regarded holistic therapist, and she's here today to tell us how to help heal our mind, our body, and our soul. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a very, very warm welcome to our spiritually enlightened guest, Tonya Ben Mansour.
Hey, Tonya, how are you today?
Hey, Toby, how are you? I'm great.
Excellent. I'm excellent. And it's so nice to have you on the show. You have a lot of skills that we're all interested in, and hence why you're here. But before I start, I'd like to introduce you to my co-host, Sir Gareth Dyton.
Hello.
Nice to meet you, Gareth.
The pleasure's all mine, Tonya. It's an absolute delight to sort of meet you. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
You're more than welcome. And, well, Tonya, I have to say that you've certainly led a very varied and interesting life, and there's a lot for us to talk about. So I'm not quite sure where actually to begin, but I understand you're a martial artist and have been for 32 years. Can you tell us about the disciplines that you've kind of studied?
Yeah, I started when I was 9 with Taekwondo. I did that for about 4 years. Then I went under the direction of Shidaru at age 13. I stayed with him until my early 30s with Northern style Kung Fu and Sanshao kickboxing. And in between, I did other disciplines. I did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, Thai boxing, ninjutsu. I had an uncle that lived in Japan and trained me in ninjutsu. Wow. As a teenager. And then I discovered Krav Maga, and it all just clicked.
Wow, excellent.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So what are the differences between those disciplines?
Well, Taekwondo, taught in the United States, we tend to water things down a lot here. So Taekwondo here is more of a tournament sport. Kung Fu, depending on how it's taught, some people, and it depends on what their goals are, why they're training. Some people are training to have actual self-defense. Some people just want to compete in tournaments. So it really depends on the direction of something and how it's taught. But Kung Fu it has very broad movements. Kickboxing stand shao kickboxing is a Kung Fu based kickboxing that also has a lot of wrestling throws, judo throws, and Thai boxing is just bloody, a lot of knees and elbows. Jiu-jitsu, Brazilian style, is good on the ground. It does seem the way they teach it here is more everyone wants to go to a Naga tournament. Weeping Willow Jiu-Jitsu or Japanese Jiu-Jitsu is more of a self-defense type of, grappling work. And Krav Maga is, that's my first love of martial arts is Krav Maga. It's just applicable. There's no bullshit. There's no kata. It's very gross motor movement. It just makes sense. 1, 2, maybe a third thing, but nothing that I ever taught in that realm went beyond a 1, 2, 3, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
kind of.
Yeah,
yes.
It does make sense. You actually just mentioned there about you teaching. I believe you've been, as well as a student, you've also been a teacher and a master. Was actually that a natural path that you kind of always wanted to go down?
It did. It was. I guess a lot of little girls want to be Barbie, and I saw my first Bruce Lee movie when I was around 5 or 6, and I wanted to be Bruce Lee.
Nice.
All right.
So I begged and begged and begged my parents, and they wouldn't let me train until some things happened and then they let me train around the age of 9. So, and then all of my dreams came true.
Nice.
That's awesome.
That's very good. Very most impressive.
You also had a dojo as well, right?
I did. I had a dojo, and the place that I was operating in was sold, and everything I was looking for was like 5,000 square feet. I don't need that much space. And then COVID happened, so everything had to shut down. So it was kind of my sign that I don't really like running a school. It detaches focus from the healing work that I'm here to do. And so I teach a lot of seminars and teaching in that front. So
excellent. Well, to be fair, you're a very multifaceted healer. And can we go step through some of the disciplines so you can explain to our viewers what they are and how they help people?
Sure.
Maybe we can start with something a little bit more gentle, like the herbalist in you.
The herbalist in me. Well, I had a very beautiful mentor. She recently passed away a couple of months ago, and I started studying with her at the age of 16. And I was a weird kid. I was just like this kid monk in a way, and just took it very seriously and studied and studied. I took classes, studied with other teachers, because I have so many allergies myself. I can't take anything pharmaceutical, so I have to be my own medicine. So,
okay.
And that led to immediately graduating high school. I went to massage therapy school and became a Reiki master as I was going through school. And that just opened up a whole world of how to empower people to become their own medicine, and just figuring out these wonderful things that I've gotten to witness and be a part of with my patients over the years.
Nice.
That's fabulous.
That's incredibly fascinating. How would being a herbalist, how would that kind of benefit sort of your patients? What kind of things would you actually do with them?
Well, one person that I work with, she's been with me 23 years. She has a curvature in her spine that will never be, it could be fully corrected perhaps, but it hasn't been. And so massage therapy is her way to manage that.
Yeah.
And she's always had this horrible lymphatic swelling in her ankles. And I just got tired of it one day, and I was like, so if I tell you to do something, are you going to do it? She was like, yeah. I said, go get some niacin, go get a little red clover, go on the niacin, enough as directed, and then maybe back it off. And, once the swelling goes down, back to about 2 or 3 times a week. And then the red clover, and all of this horrendous lymphatic swelling that she had is now gone.
Wow. That's very impressive.
Beautiful, beautiful.
The earth has everything we need. You just have to listen to how to use it.
I agree completely. So do you think, have you found any negative elements to being an herbalist?
Yes. Yes.
Ah, okay.
Well, as an herbalist, I'm allergic to a lot of herbs. So certain things that people need, I can't make for them, or if I make it for them, I'm literally wearing a P100 gas mask and goggles.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, bless you.
Yeah.
Would you actually still make them for someone, or actually would you actually get somebody else to kind of do that for you?
I would get someone else to come in and, hey, mix this up, and I'll direct them. Like, I need this. I'm going to go over here so I don't die while you do that.
Yes, fair call.
Lavender is not my friend.
Oh, that's too bad, because I hear it's a real relaxing herb.
Yeah.
For most people, obviously.
For most people, yeah.
Not if you have a massive allergy to it, yeah.
Okay.
You mentioned earlier about you being a Reiki master. Just so our viewers understand it, could you explain what is Reiki and how might it help or benefit somebody?
Oh, Reiki. Reiki is just, it's so beautiful. I can't say enough about it. It translates to mean life ray, and life ray is, so science has proven that we have chi. They know we have chi, but like we have the collective conscious, we also have our microcosmic conscious along with the macrocosmic. So life ray is that collective chi. And you could say God, you could say whatever you want to say, call it whatever you want to call it. And so the healer, basically you are a wire, you're a conduit, and you pull this down through you into the client. You can direct it and weave it, but the energy knows what it needs to do. And it's very universal, non-religious, just open, beautiful. There's 3 levels in Ushui tradition, which is, in my opinion, it's the only tradition. All of these offshoots have started popping up, the online attunements. And to me, that's very dangerous, because what are you attuning someone to? Because Reiki has to be attuned by touch.
Yeah.
So that is something.
Okay.
Yeah. That's concerning to me. What actually are you plugging people into with that? And, but it has 3 levels. The first level, the practitioner only works with the self, your shadow work, channeling the energy with the self, preparing yourself to touch other people. And level 2, you go with, working with others. It's, also learning the distant healing, how to use the energy to heal hundreds of miles away. And then level 3 is when you want to step up and become a teacher and attune others.
Interesting.
That's really interesting.
So how did you find out about Reiki and what interested in it? And
okay, in massage school, this teacher came to talk to us about it. And I was completely turned off. She was like, I did this. I. And I'm like, oh, Reiki people must be full of ego. I don't want to do that. And so I go to a yoga class at my Reiki master's health food store. And she was like, hey, Tonya, I'm doing a Reiki class. I'd really love for you to come. You need to do this. And I was like, well, I'm a student. I don't have any money. She's like, don't worry about it. We'll work that out. Just come. And so I went, and life has been so enchanted ever since.
Nice. It was actually sort of meant to happen then, obviously.
It really was. It really was. And when she approached me, I was like, no, I don't want what you're selling me. Thanks. But because of how beautiful her spirit was and how close we got just knowing each other, she invited me in. So
you mentioned earlier about you being sort of a Reiki master. How do you become a Reiki master? Is there like a series of like kind of experiences you have to go through, or is there like kind of formal qualifications, or is it kind of written, or you know?
Well, you generally, like your level 1, you get an attunement. I just took some students through a level 1 attunement and am guiding them through that process now. And so you would get your attunement so that, and basically that is me or whatever master is working to put these alchemy symbols into your chakras. They are permanently infused there from that point on. Mm-hmm. And so at this point, I did their attunement. I led them through a meditation. I gave them a book that I use. I'll grab it for you really quick if you want at the end, or send you a picture of it.
Sure.
And it's very simple. And I give them a handout of how to put their hands on the body. They learn the symbols. And then in that month or few months, and in Japan, it's 20 years in between levels, usually. Here in America, we're instant gratification. Yeah. And so it's a deep, deep process. So they're going to face a lot of shadows. They're going to face a lot about themselves. It's not a task for the weak at all.
So it's obviously not something you can perform on yourself.
Yeah. That's what level 1 is all about. That's all you can work on.
Oh, okay.
You won't be able to channel the energy into anyone because I haven't put it into the hand.
Excellent. Okay. So how do I go about performing it on myself? Or is this another whole podcast?
You would need an attunement from either find a Reiki master near you, or if you're coming to town, I could give you your level 1 attunement, whatever.
Well, I know that you're also a massage therapist, and I'll be right over. I mean, no, seriously. You just told us about the practice of Reiki, and what's the difference between this and traditional massage?
Reiki is usually done hands off. I am a very touchy person, so I do light touches throughout a Reiki session. Some people do not. And massage is, it depends on what your goal is. Some people want to go to the spa and relax, and I tell those people to go to the spa. I'm here to fix issues. So medical massage is more what I do. Focused in with Tui Na, which is Chinese medical massage. It's been my main area of focus. Neuromuscular therapy. A lot of what I do is more, I guess, akin to physical therapy. It's a lot of active release technique, passive movement therapy. It's basically breaking down the adhesions, the scar tissue, and moving it out. It's sweet pain. It's very sweet pain.
I've had a bunch of those deep tissue massages, and afterward, it's great to feel afterward. Mm-hmm. But sometimes during, it's a bit painful.
Well, and I always tell my clients and my patients, let me know if it's too much, because that's counterproductive. Yeah. If you're experiencing too much pain, you're and I can't relax something that's
Yeah, exactly. Sort of makes you tense, doesn't it, as well, if you're going through things like that?
It does. And it's not, there is the pain of letting go. That old adage is true in the physical, the spiritual, and the mental realms, but it shouldn't be agonizing. So you guys listening, if your therapist is doing something and it's making you clench and you can't stand it, communicate with them, let them know, hey, back up a little bit.
Excellent. Okay.
You mentioned that you're a licensed and certified, like, kind of massage therapist. What did you have to do to become licensed and certified?
School.
School.
I went to massage school and it was 6 days a week of school between school and clinicals. It's a lot for about a year, and then every 2 years we have to do continuing education courses to renew our license, and that can vary from state to state. Like Alabama is 16. Some states are 24. I personally think that we need more CEUs in our licensure renewal. Yeah. I'm not popular with other therapists here.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I bet. You said you spoke about hijama. Did you learn that after massage therapy? Is that something you became interested in having done massage therapy, or is that something you've always been interested in? And can you explain what hijama is to our viewers, please?
Yes, hijama. Okay, so hijama is an ancient Egyptian practice. It's hijama. These cups. So these are cupping jars, and you've got wet cupping, dry cupping, wet hijama, dry hijama. And hijama is done with bloodletting. So you apply the cup, then you remove it, then you make several small incisions, particular places, usually over the kidneys, along the back, the occiput of the head. But if you do it dry, it's phenomenal for stuck muscle tissue. It pulls, it creates a vacuum, pushes the blood under the tissue, and relieves a lot of congestion going on in the body. Nice. And the
that sounds kind of scary.
It is. I drained a friend of mine. He had a cyst on his head, and he had gone to the doctor, and they said, "Oh, it's benign. Don't worry about it." And then it started causing problems. Started getting bigger. So he didn't want to go to another doctor. So he just came over, and I drained his head.
That actually sounds so wrong as a sentence.
Oh, God, it does. I just totally realized that. Whoops. I drained the back of his occiput right there. Yeah. It can be used. It's great for lupus, autoimmune disorders, but there are certain things you can't do it to someone that's diabetic. You should not do it to someone with high blood pressure. You know, there's a lot of contraindications. Someone doing blood thinners, you wouldn't do hijama on that person. Yeah. It's not safe.
Makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, totally.
I also know that you've studied hypnotherapy. And can you tell our viewers what that is? Because there seems to be a lot of misconceptions about this practice.
There is.
And so I want to kind of, have you clear it up.
Okay, so
tell us about it, please.
No one can make you do anything against your free will. That's in the movies. That's, it's all theater. There's people on the stage. A lot of times that's an act. And hypnotherapy usually works in the theta wave, which is as you're laying there, you're drifting off to sleep. You're still aware of everything in the room, but you're not exactly there. That's your theta wave. That's where you want your patient to be because the mind is open. The mind's open to suggestions. If you're working forensic hypnotherapy to recover lost memories, you want to open the subconscious in a linear, sort of going back in a timeline. And you're trying to bring the mind, the conscious and the subconscious and let them communicate. That's one way of doing it. Mm-hmm. But it's pretty profound. You can go all the way into the Akashic record, go into the past lives, or you can just deal with trauma in the present.
And which do you do?
All of it.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah. And all of that.
And which do you prefer?
Which do I prefer? I don't really have a preference. I prefer that whoever I'm being present for, whoever I'm assisting, that they get better. So whatever method, how we get there it's all beautiful to me.
Got it.
So I prefer, I guess, if I had to like just go ahead.
No. Carry on.
I mean, if I could pick, if I could just pick one thing that I did all day, I couldn't. That's, I guess, why I do all of these things, is to be able to work with people on these many fronts.
That's so awesome.
Do you actually find that having this range of skills, that they all kind of complement each other, that it becomes quite like a patchwork of like sort of abilities to actually kind of help people? And do you find that most people need sort of a mixture of those abilities to be helped?
Yes, absolutely. And that's why, I see, everyone wants to make a living, but the chiropractor, sometimes they don't want to refer to a massage therapist because they want you in their office 4 times a week.
Yeah.
And when you could get a massage before going to your chiropractor, and your healing is just exponential in the effectiveness, versus just having tense muscles. You've got the chiropractor popping everything that's already really tightened up, and it can cause more problems. So, we do need either a wide range of skills or healthcare providers referring to get their patient what they need.
Yeah, totally, and that sort of completely makes sense as well, doesn't it? Really, it's. I remember I saw a chiropractor a couple of years ago, and I was told that basically I could expect to feel worse before I felt better, and that wasn't much of a selling point at that moment in time because I was in quite a lot of pain, So to actually be told that from like the off was sort of a little bit on the off-putting side, I must be honest.
Well, it's honest though.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're breaking things down, sometimes it does get worse before it gets better. And it just depends on if there's nerve impingement, pinched nerves, whatever the case is going on. But all of those things led me to form, an Raphael method, which is a dynamic healing system. It's very controversial, but it's getting massive results. People are coming off of dangerous medications, and they're no longer suicidal, and they're getting their lives back.
That sounds beautiful.
That does sound beautiful.
Can you explain what Raphael and...
So I guess a working example of it would be if you have someone that got in a car accident, they're absolutely terrified to drive their car. They might have an injury, and they just can't bring themselves to get behind the wheel. So what you would do is I would take this person under hypnosis, address the fear, the anxiety, the trauma that they're experiencing, the blockage, and then I would draw that into the body, dealing with the affected area and bringing the recognition of the mind with the body, and then clearing it out with chakra work, because every physical illness has a mental or spiritual root behind it, and the 3 are always working together. So you just kind of guide it through these stages.
What was your inspiration?
What was my inspiration? I would just have to say something far greater and bigger than me. I was working on a client when this hit me, and I was like, 1 second, and just ran and wrote it down on a sticky note. And I was just like, okay, just think about it as we're working, hold on to it. And then it just, all this information keeps coming, and I just keep applying it. And now it's a formed, complete entity all of its own.
That's awesome.
That's incredibly awesome. And for it just to appear out of the universe to you as well, sort of, I kind of can't help but feel that actually that's the cosmos actually trying sort of to tell you your place, if you know what I mean.
It is. Yeah, it made my place quite apparent to me. And so I'm just here trying to assist humanity to elevate.
That's that's a great, what's the word I'm looking for? Path to be on.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Because I know I'm on one of the same paths with TAUMMHOMS.
I know.
Which you've tried. And we can talk about that in a little while. But I do have one more question about going back to the hypnotherapist. There's clinical and forensic. So what's the difference between those two?
Forensic is just a term to recover lost memories. If you were doing a past life regression, that would be forensic. Clinical is more dealing with fears, PTSD, addiction, different blockages that people might have. Mm-hmm. And I really try not to say that there's anything wrong with anyone. There's nothing right or wrong. There is a balance and there's an imbalance. There is a deficiency or a sufficiency, and right. I think that someone might be wounded. It doesn't mean that there's wrong for them or wrong with them or that they are wrong. But even though someone's broken and they're in a healing process, they're still whole.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess that's very, the patient needs to really recognize that as well.
Yeah.
They do. And I hold my patients very accountable.
What does that mean exactly?
Well, it just means that if you're not trying to heal and improve your life truly, authentically, I don't want to be anyone's overpriced Band-Aid.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
They can go to the spa, I guess.
Right. Down the street.
Right.
Yeah. That's a fair call. That's a very fair call. Can you explain to us what Art Vibe is?
Art Vibe. Okay, so that is my baby. The percussion massage guns that you see people selling, they're marketed.
Oh, yeah.
They're marketed to non-professionals, and people are injuring themselves left and right. Yeah, it's a great tool. Nice. Yeah. But it's like a high-powered power drill. It's
right.
a remarkable tool, though. So I spent a few years working and developing active release technique, which is the ART, and vibration. So it's how to use this gun effectively, involving active and passive movement therapy. I think a page and a half of the instruction manual, the book that I've written for the class, I think 2 pages of it is just nothing but warnings of what not to do.
Right.
Oh, wow. Wow. And what was your inspiration for that?
I had some patients and they bought one and they were like, "Hey, will you play with us with this?" And I was like,
okay.
And so I just got it in my hands and I was like, "Ooh, this is interesting." So, I was like, it was my first time touching a body with one of these things. And I was just like, yes. And all of this information started clicking.
Okay. And so do you do individuals and groups as well?
I do.
Okay.
Class structure is generally taught in a group. If I'm working with a patient, that's one-on-one usually. Unless sometimes people come in and they want to do a past life regression together. Hypnotherapy is something that you can do with more than one person at a time.
Wow.
That's very, very impressive. Can you tell us about Bella Sundries?
Bella Sundries. It's the name of my company. It's the name of my brand.
It's the name of the company. So it's like your overall umbrella term, yeah? Yeah,
it's so funny because people think my name is Bella sometimes, and I let them.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah, she's over there. No. So that name actually came. I was doing a CEU course with another therapist friend of mine. She was in town doing a course, and I was like, "Oh, I want to see what you have to do." And it was not my thing. It was a spa, like body wraps and all this stuff that it has its place. It's just not my thing. And so she was like, okay, you guys have to bring something, make your own little spa and name it. And I was like, well, shit. I got to come up with a name. So my ex-husband always used to call me Bella. Bella, Bella, Bella. And sundries. Sundries are what you find when you walk into like a really old school drugstore. You know, the random things. So sundries is French. It means random things. So beautiful random things, which is sort of the totality of me. All these random things.
It's quite an impressive list of random things, by the way.
Thank you.
I find it all very.
It's the martial arts is like my killing hand and my healing hand. Which one?
Right. So watch out for the left then, right?
Oh, right.
The killing hand.
Left hook is nasty.
Okay, I bet.
I'll actually take your word for that. That's okay.
So did you always want to open a healing center and stuff like that?
I did. I've literally been massaging people since I was 6 years old.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, my grandmother had RA, and I would just touch her. I just wanted her to feel better. And whatever I did, it worked. She felt better. And that's why I ended up in massage school.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
How sort of do your kind of treatments work? Can people just show up, or kind of do you kind of consult with them first to see what therapies would benefit them, or do people arrive with like an idea of what it is they want?
Well, usually it's by appointment only. It's just me, so I can't dual that. But so when people call, they're like, oh, I'm interested in massage, or I'm interested in Reiki, or they tell me, and I'm like, okay, well, what sparked your interest? How did you hear about me? And then from there, and then I'll know how to place them.
Perfect.
That's very cool.
Well, can you tell us about the products that you sell in Bella Sundries?
It's kind of like just my creative outlet. It's not a huge focus of the business. Like, I don't really care if I sell them, but I enjoy them. And I know it's weird, but no, people do get a lot of things specially made, and that's why I do it, because I'm allergic to everything. Mm-hmm. So, like, this is my bug banishing potion. Mm-hmm. It's a very simple lotion base with about 9 different things. We tested out in the Alabama Delta, so you can go out in the Delta where everything will eat you, and until you sweat it off about 3 or 4 hours.
Okay.
And I love dragon's blood. It's my favorite thing in the whole world. And you can't go to Bath and Body Works and buy dragon's blood lotion. So
you created your own.
Right. And so I use these things. And it started with, people asking me, oh, your skin is awesome. What do you use on your skin? And I'm like, a lotion I make at home.
Fair enough.
So I can't use any of the cosmetics that you'll find. So
okay,
that's very cool.
Allergies,
right? So if you source them, do you have any standards for the products? For example, you're allergic to everything, and so they have to be vegan, or do they like where's your levels?
I use organic ingredients. Now, someone that's allergic to coconut couldn't use my lotion, but if they wanted something, I could use like a shea butter or something instead of the coconut oil that goes into it. Mm-hmm. But I try to use everything that's organic. And if I don't want to put it in my body, I don't want someone else putting it on or in theirs.
That's a fair call. That's sort of like a really fair call. That's actually like sort of seems a very good standard to have, to be honest. I actually kind of wouldn't do it, so therefore I don't expect other people to either.
Right. Like, your face is what you show to the world. So people have sensitive skin. People have different issues. So if it can go on my face, it can go on just about anyone's face.
Okay. Do you make the custom for someone?
Yeah, I do.
So, Tonya, you've been helping us with something that we've been working on for a while, which is the infusion of our beautiful music with my technology of tomes. And you've been using it in the spa and in your practices with your patients. Can you tell us a little bit about some of those results?
It's phenomenal. Well, for me, the therapist working with it, you want to allow some time afterwards to let your brain get on its feet, so to speak. I mean, I'm a fairly responsible person, and the first day after working with it for 5 hours, I left my wallet at work. So kind of want to give yourself some time to come back.
Okay.
Because it's for me, I find a phenomenal result physically working with it, but some of my patients really notice a difference. Okay. Some of them are so conditioned, they're just whatever. They don't notice. But for the most part, it's had this really great effect. And sometimes people have control issues, or they have sort of trust issue where you go to move their arm and they're going to help you, instead of just letting you move them. And so the people that do tend to fight a little bit more, I notice with the music, they're like, oh, we're good.
Excellent. So do you ask specific questions about the music at the end of the session, or how do you get your information?
Well, I tell them what's going on at first, and I'm like, hey, try not to read anything into it. Just allow the process, allow yourself to hear it, feel it. If something strikes you, tell me afterwards. Mm-hmm. And afterwards, I'll ask them, did you enjoy the music? It's never been a no.
That's good.
And or if they noticed any more relaxation with this music than other spa music that they've heard, or if they felt a physiological or mental effect and interaction with the music.
Beautiful. So. And I have all those notes, and they are amazing, I must tell you. And thank you very, very much for including that.
Thank you for having me to do the project. I mean, this is right. Sound healing is so important. I mean, vibration is the future of medicine.
Absolutely.
Colors have sound, sounds have sound. Creation is born of sound. So, it's an honor.
Well, thank you. And I really, really, truly, appreciate you and you trying it, and the results you're having are amazing. And I just really appreciate them. And deep gratitude to you and all of your wisdom and thoughts about it and everything that you've taught us today. Sorry, Gareth.
So I was going to ask, so what is next for Tonya?
What is next for Tonya? A lot of teaching seems to be the direction. So we're in the final stages of production and filming for all these classes that I've written to be released. They've all been beta tested. And so that's the direction, is empowering other people to become their own medicine. And, it sounds egocentric, and I really don't mean it to be, but people often will tell me, you do what no one else can do. You do it differently.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was working on a girl that is a therapist, and she stopped in the middle of her massage and she was like, I will pay you whatever you want if you teach me what you're doing to me right now. Mm-hmm. And so wow. I figure if I could teach 10,000 therapists around the world what I'm doing that's working, and then each of those people have 100 patients, that's 1 million people getting their life back.
Yeah,
like
totally.
Getting off of medications, so that is definitely my new direction moving forward.
That's awesome. So where can people find you to enroll in your educational programs?
It's all for professionals right now. I'm in the process of uploading and getting things done in a manner for non-professionals, which is going to take a little time, but you'll be able to find those things on Udemy, or, I'll have updates on my website as they come along.
Excellent. And what's that website, please?
bella.sundries.massage.
Oh, okay.
Yes, this is simple.
Excellent.
And things will be updated to Udemy. I love Udemy. That's a really cool site. So you can go on there and learn just about anything.
So we towards the kind of end of our chat. We usually like to ask people, well, we actually know the things that people know you for, and we know the things that you have an interest in. But we would like to know whether you have any hidden talents or superpowers that you would like to share with us.
Well, I can't give away my secrets.
Well,
then you'll know. No.
As well.
Superpowers. Well, everyone's telepathic just about. So there's that. But that's not really a superpower because you are too.
Okay.
It's just a nonverbal communication. Like when you think about someone and they call you, like ask yourself how many times that happens. That's your mind, your emotions communicating outside of your conscious awareness. And we haven't put that into our education system yet. It needs to happen. Superpowers. We are all fantastic, amazing, transdimensional beings as human beings. Like we all have these great, wonderful things about us. So I guess I'm a mother.
Your superpower.
My superpower. I am a mother, and I have really awesome kids. So
perfect.
Superpower. People walk in my office and they come out with a different worldview. They come out being able to move where they once couldn't.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's the superpower.
Definitely.
Right there.
Yeah, definitely.
The art of healing.
The actual sort of ability to pass those skills on to other people as well
love it.
Is most definitely a superpower.
Yeah, teaching is it's definitely something I've always done. It's kind of and everything from teaching school to teaching martial arts to teaching meditation, and I just really enjoy that. So that's my superpower.
Just actually sort of channel in effectively, you're kind of channeling your energy and putting it out to the world. It's a fantastic skill to have.
So springing beauty and joy into the world, and letting people know that no matter what society tells you, that you're full of greatness. Underneath all the bullshit, there's utter perfection.
Yeah.
That's beautiful in itself.
It is. It's a very strong, positive nature, and I like that. I like that very much. Thank you, Tonya, for sharing that with us.
Wow, Tonya, this has been a super informative and really uplifting and healing episode. And I really enjoyed all the information, advice, and learning even more about you and your practices. And I'd love to have a, episode number 2 or a continuing one with, when you get your education stuff up online, and, love to help you bring that to the world as well. So thank you, Tonya, for taking the time to being on My Right Stuff.
Thank you for having me. It was an honor, Toby and Gareth. You guys are amazing.
Thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure to meet you, and I feel like I've learned so much from having this conversation with you. So thank you ever so much for kind of sharing your wisdom with us. And I'd like to say a big thank you to everyone out there who's watching. Thank you very much. No star, you beautiful people, and we'll catch you soon.
And thank you again, Tonya. And I'm your host, Lord Rage Wright, and this has been another informative and very healthful episode of My Right Stuff. Be sure to tune in every other week for yet another adventurous and informative show. And please remember to listen loud, play hard, and keep reaching for your dreams. Thanks for watching. Good night.
Do you suffer from insomnia, depression, or anxiety? Well, our sponsor, TAUMMHOMS, may be able to help you in these areas. TAUMMHOMS, a natural sleep and sound healing portal, helping people globally to get to sleep faster and stay asleep longer. And you can find this piece of gold at www.TAUMMHOMS.com. I want to say a big thank you to all of you who stream, download, watch and support My Right Stuff. And please keep spreading the word, my friends. We really, really do appreciate it. We also now have a My Right Stuff store where you can pick up some snazzy merch for those lovely bodies or even gift for a loved one or two. Go to myrightstuff.com and click on the store tab. And don't forget to tag us in any photos with our merch so that we can include you in an episode. Please be sure to subscribe to the podcast channel of your choice, as well as our YouTube channel and Spotify channel. I hear that it will give you 10 years of good luck. Ring that bell, my friends. This has been another amazing episode of My Right Stuff, and be sure to tune in for this episode and every episode every fortnight for another adventurous and informative show. I'm your co-host, Sir Gareth Dyton, and thank you, my lovelies, for tuning in. No star, you beautiful people, and we'll catch you next time.